Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this weekend's live stream. I'm Human, also known as Bobby. Hi to the regulars. Boffin, how are you, man? Haven't talked to you in a little while. Peg, Big Ol, and a couple of others that were here earlier. Okay. As always, if you're here during the stream, if you're live here, if you're one of these people chatting and talking away, if you would like to ask me a question during this stream related to this topic and be involved in this discussion live, before your question or comment to me that you want to share, make sure you put 3 emojis, basically yellow, bright, any kind of circle so I can see it against the dark background. Then I can see it's actually a question or a comment you want me to consider to address on the stream. So without any further ado, today we're talking about this. What are the signs that she likes you? And rather than this being a trite and cliche, you know, how can you tell if a girl likes you? As most of you who watch my channel, it's not a question that I would answer like others. For me, I don't care about signs. And most of you who know me through my channel would probably guess that that would be my response. But all too often, I've come across this comment or question. What are the signs that a woman is interested in me? And when you're young, and especially with guys, we don't talk, we don't communicate, we act tough, overly stoic, putting on a macho mask. Men really don't talk about this stuff at all. And so we look for signs. We look for signs, indirect signs, the way we would hunt an animal. We can't speak to them. We look at scent, tracks, connecting concepts. A leads to B, leads to C. So it's all very, very complicated. Anything and everything except being direct. If men in the past could communicate with animals, we'd hunt them much more efficiently. And I think that men seeing communication and talking as a female thing, you know, feelings and communicating feelings and what you think, it's very female. You know, we deal with maths. We're about engineering. When it comes to feelings, they're feelings, you know. And then it's also, you don't want to offend a chick. You want to keep everything nice. So the safest way that she won't go away and give you a chance is that you don't say anything wrong. And the best way not to say anything wrong is to be agreeable and look for signs. And I would say, well, look, basically what this is asking, what a lot of guys earnestly ask, right? It's a genuine question. And firstly, also, just before I get back onto this, with my microphone, can you guys hear a fan in the background if I'm silent? Let me know, yes or no. Can you hear a fan? If so, I'll turn it off if it's not distracting, because it's very, very cold this morning here in Melbourne. We're almost at winter. So let me know. I've already got a couple of questions here. Okay. Andrew G asked, can you give us examples of the signs Stephanie gave you, please? Well, again, I'll get. This is the point I wanted to talk about. There were no actual signs. I talked to her to convince myself and understand her clearly through words, and then she didn't contradict what she said, and what she said matched up to the way she acted. And she said, oh, well, I believe in this or that, or I don't like this or I don't like that, or my character is this and this is the way I really am. And then you notice when you're out somewhere or you have a conversation, she reacts exactly the way she said she would with that thing or what she believed in. So there's a consistency and non-contradiction to the person. And then the signs later on where You don't have to look for signs of trust. You have evidence behind you, real evidence of them being consistent with their words because you communicate. My problem with looking for signals and reading the puzzles of women and other people to try and be certain is that you never know you will be. You are interpreting something, whereas you've just got the easy thing of talking and being direct. And I know it's scary for people who don't like talking, who have probably been raised to be indirect and overly polite and avoidant. Might be because you've been raised in a highly religious or strict household where anything and everything other than direct communication, polite direct communication, was what was supposed to be done. So you had to put on this mask and act and walk and say certain things just to get by. Because when you're young, you want to eat and survive and have a roof over your head. You have to act, put on this act your whole life. And then when you're an adult, you think, well, everything's led me up to this point, and all the ways you've acted in public with strangers, you continue to act that way. So it's really hard for you to communicate. You literally feel, or figuratively feel like you have a hand over your mouth whenever there's a conversation about something that you are passionate about or you really have an opinion about, but you don't say it because it's impolite to talk that way or say those things, because the ghosts of your parents and how you've been conditioned through your childhood and your past and your teachers and puberty and like all your friends and everything, the way you've been formalized to navigate and walk on eggshells to get by and get what you want through indirect communication and gaslighting and pretending to like this that you really don't, because people will think you'll be weird if you're just honest about what you like and who you are, things like that. By the time you realize, just throw all that away and just talk plainly and directly about who you are. Some people just can't do it. Some people have been solidified so much in their upbringing that it's almost impossible to be honest and direct. So getting back to what you asked, Andrew, Stephanie didn't really give me signs. Stephanie was consistent with, through our conversation over time, never contradicting herself and being exactly what she described herself to be. And our conversations were you never ran into a speed bump where it was like, whoa, hang on a minute, I thought you were different. That never came up. So it wasn't signs. The signs were consistency. The signs were evidence of consistent past behavior matching present behavior, and you grow trust, and your connection to each other grows as a result of all of that. Does that make sense? Yes, as Boffin said to somebody, if you would like to ask a question, please put 3 smiley faces. I think Asmat was asking a question. I'll read your question, Asmat, but please, if you want to ask a question during the live stream, add 3 smiley faces or yellow circles, like Boffin here is suggesting. Put 3 circles or smiley faces before your comment, so I know it's a comment. Thank you. And I mean, here is a related video I did a while ago about questions to ask on a date. And it's all about just being honest and talking about what's interesting to you, what's important. Don't avoid, like, you can imagine with all of these interesting and important questions and discussions I like having with you guys that are also relevant on a date, and you would like to know, because you're interested in Chicky Poo across from you, you really want to know her opinion because she's interested in you. She's not someone you don't care about, so you don't ask her these questions. Of course I want to have these discussions with her as well. That's, I want to be able to express all of this with Stephanie, and I do. So you bet I talked about all of this, and we had deep, interesting, fun conversations about this stuff. You find out that you're on the same page, and you very quickly find out if you're not. And sorry, bad luck, that person's probably not for you. If you have to withhold, if I have to keep all of this private from the closest people in my real life, friends, family, and Stephanie and stuff, like I can't express these feelings. I hold them in like a pressure cooker and only voice these real opinions with you guys in private, anonymously. it's not a way to live. You are acting your real life then. Some people act this life, like streaming and YouTubing and stuff. Fair enough, some people perform. I think it's healthier to be yourself in real life as much as possible, and you know, you perform a bit of yourself, or to whatever degree you choose to. It's your entertainment online. But when people start being more real online anonymously than they ever are, because they're afraid to just speak up and voice their opinion, I really feel like, me included in the past in certain ways, you really need to deal with that. Otherwise, your life is going to get worse and worse, and you're going to be more and more lonely when you get older, and you're going to find that you're never getting anywhere. You're never finding solutions. You don't trust your own opinion because you keep doing things the old, acting, informal, indirect way. All right, Boffin can't hear any fan noise. Ah, cool. Look, the reason I use this microphone, for any tech nerds out there who are interested in the gear I use a dynamic microphone because that cuts out a lot of noise the further away you get. So you have to talk really close. And so you shouldn't be able to hear the fan in the background. But I just wanted to make sure. For anyone interested, my microphone is the Fifine 5669D, I think it's called. Yeah, Fifine 669D dynamic microphone. Very cheap, but really, really good as far as I'm concerned. So, strange, beautiful music. Human, have you seen the video that Ham and Migtail Monk did about your relationship? No, I don't care. I don't care what other people say about my relationship, because, frankly, they're not informed. They got their cursory opinion based on their own perception, which, fine, they can have their opinion, but I don't care. They're not informed, so they don't have an accurate opinion about my relationship. They can say what they want. I can say what I want about Elon Musk. I don't know a thing about him. I sort of see little sound bites, and even if I was to go into his life and find out everything I can, there's only so much I know. I'm not one of his close friends or people in his life that I can really give an accurate assessment. So, yeah, I haven't watched it, don't want to, because if they're commenting on my life, they're not informed, so it's not accurate. And I don't need to justify myself to people who think they know me better than me, and they don't want to listen to what I say. This is the horse's mouth, and you don't want to listen to it. Well, fair enough. Say what you want. All right, let's go on with the topic here. So this main question that comes in various forms, you know, how can I tell if a woman likes me? What are the signs she's interested? Anything and everything except for talking to them. And sorry, unfortunately, life becomes so much easier with people when you can talk to them and be direct. I know the more you're raised online, away from people, you curate your little friend group and stuff, and it's fun. But if you want to go to the supermarket, have a job, get along with family, even if, you know, your family and you aren't 100% aligned, if you want to just have a good time at a barbecue for an hour, you have to learn chit-chat and meeting people halfway, learning how not to be so tightly strung, and meet people part way. It can't all be you. I know there's a degree of compatibility you need to have with finding a partner. They have to largely be you. But out there, everyone else, even friends and family to a degree, like I've got a couple of really good friends. My best friend, I really can't talk that deeply about philosophical problems the way I can get into it with you here or with Stephanie, right? But he's my best male friend, but he's been with me all the time. He's a great guy, but he's just not wired that way to go that deep into those discussions. But in every other way, he's a great guy. But I just know he just can't go there to the depth that I would like him to, because he's just not interested in it. He's the kind of guy that gets over breakups easily. He's very stoic. I will be ruminating and trying to figure out problems with relationships I've had and breakups. And his answer is like, he wants us to be distracted by going for a drive, playing sport, going away or something, and really getting my mind off it. his answer to women is like, women, what do you do? And he moves on. Whereas I really want to learn from mistakes and not repeat the same things. That's the way my brain is wired. I need to find a philosophical way through it, or to underscore it philosophically, just so I know what it is. He doesn't care. He moves on, and he doesn't pay it much credence afterwards, which is great, but I can't do that. But what I'm saying is everyone's different. If with a girl you like, someone you really want to have a good relationship in life with, even if it's not romantic, you need to, as much as possible, express who you are and talk. There is nothing wrong with your opinion. I'll keep repeating this, even if it's trite to you guys. A lot of you guys want some sort of magic bullet, magic pill. It's as simple as, it's like health. Eat well, exercise. It's as uncomplicated as that. The basics are true. And the same with relationships. Be yourself, and you can say whatever you want as long as it's polite. The more eloquent, the better you speak, the better you can communicate everything you feel and think and what you're into, your values, the better it is for you. You are off the hook, the better you can communicate. Why do you think I'm not just trying to be theatrical and smart? I want to as clearly and eloquently describe to you my thoughts and feelings as sharply as possible. And similarly, when I was on dates, I wanted to work this stuff out. So all I could do was, over time, be this person, really curious, really expressing my questions and wanting answers in maybe not as an eloquent way, but just clearly as possible. So I understand what's going on, what you feel, what you want. And if it's whatever and I don't know, it's like, it's not good enough for me anymore. I'm sorry. I can't say that to myself anymore. And I really need clearer answers from you. I need to know what you want. And if you don't know, fair enough. I'm not going to push you, but I need someone who at least knows what this is, where this might be going, what you want. Fair enough. You might need time, but what are you looking for now? What are you into? What am I into? All this vague whatever conversation and vibing, I think is bullshit. I think it's avoidant. And that's comfortable for me. I've been brought up to be very avoidant and be very nice and not cause waves. But when I grew up, it really caused huge problems for me, especially with women and relationships. You can get away with it with jobs, being overly polite and avoidant and doing everything your boss asks and not asking for a raise and like just having your place and like, oh, I'm grateful. I've just got this job and I never need to move. And I'm grateful for like the 0.3% salary increase every year or so that's mandatory and I won't cause any waves and I'm just grateful to be a puppy dog here chained to this job and be fed scraps with the salary. You know, you can be polite and put on a mask everywhere, even, you know, church, family gatherings. But when it comes to your relationship, you can't. And that's the thing. It's really hard to untie yourself from that. I had to. I'm not saying I had it harder or better than any of you, but I can just imagine people who had it far worse than me. You were brought up in a very highly strict religious family. You had to do it this way. And you really had hard psychological battles to go through and, you know, cutting that cord between you and your parents or their expectations of you. I didn't have it that bad. I had, you know, without going into a lot of details, you guys probably have, a lot of you have it a lot harder than I ever did. But when it comes to your personal relationships with the people you're trying to date and the person you want to be with, finally, you can't be nice and overly formal and indirect and vague. Direct and honest communication is the only way to get someone to even know if you're compatible with them, because that communication will make it evident. And also to keep it going. You can be indirect and put on the mask in the honeymoon period, which is why a lot of people say, well, after the honeymoon period, statistics show that relationships fail and yada, yada. Yeah, I agree. But almost everyone is faking their way through it and being formal and being polite and not telling the other person exactly who they are to the bone because they're embarrassed and they think their hobbies are embarrassing or won't be accepted, or she's going to laugh at it. Like if you like video games or drawing or art or whatever it is, she'll smirk and say, cute, but fairly childish. Don't you have a business and aren't you an entrepreneur? It's like, who cares? You're embarrassed to actually show what you're into. You know, you're only proud to tell her if you're rich, if you've got a great body, if you're some sort of businessman, or what's that word? Not motivated, but industrious and sort of looking to make money and build an empire and all of that. That's the only stuff you'll be proud to talk to her about. And a lot of guys are driven to be successful in the eyes of women, but really they don't want to do it. They want to play guitar. They want to draw. They want to play video games. They want to create content. They're into a sport, soccer or basketball, but they feel like if they say that to a girl, like I'm all about basketball, for instance, she's going to say, well, okay, I can't relate to it. And also, it's a bit childish. Don't kids play sport? But the thing is, you should be able to communicate anything you want. You want someone who accepts you for the individual that you are, right? And then you find a compatible person that she's into her stuff, but you also accept her, and you both play a mature, accepting tennis with each other, and then find out more and more that you're also compatible, you're also on the same page with your values, what you like, what you dislike, if you're introverts, if you're extroverts, whether you like these sort of people, whether you like those sort of people, the degree of racism both of you have, the degree you hate the world or love the world, just a lot of those things. And then you can feel like, okay, this is my kind of person. So signs, this whole stream can be encapsulated with fuck signs, talk honestly and directly and politely. And you will find out. Fearing that, like thinking that, well, I can do an avoidant mask and I'll get by, you know that that will destroy you over the long term. It is essentially picking a terrible job that you hate turning up to because you hate turning up as that fake person over the rest of your life. No one wants that. Everyone knows that, but you'll do it for short term and think, well, she'll accept me later. It's the cliche with a lot of couples in the honeymoon period. They really reveal themselves later on, and then the other person gets quite rightly offended or annoyed. It's like, well, why didn't you say this before? Why did you say yes when you meant no about this issue? And girls can get away with it because they tend to cry, but they shouldn't get away with it. But the person goes, well, if I said this, I didn't think you want to be with me. It's like, I don't care. I've got a right to be annoyed. If I'm being honest with you, I'm not accepting the lies. You enjoyed me revealing myself honestly, but you are too scared. And later on you think, well, you said you love me. You can't just leave me now that I am revealing the real me. Yes, I can, because I fell in love with something fake. It's not like I'm leaving the real you. I'm leaving the act you put on. I'm annoyed. I've met couples, like I've talked to guys that are married with kids, and in private, their frustrations are all about him or her putting on a mask, and then it's too late. They went too far. It's like the degree to which people don't value their own lives. Like, you're not going to get it back. The time which you have here in your own life is non-renewable. Like, it's running out as we speak now. As I talk to you, as you listen to me. It's gone. It's gone. You're never getting it. And it's getting shorter and shorter until the grave. And you're willing to just throw it away, both of you putting on a mask. Neanderthal, he has a question. He says, what sign of interest from a woman has surprised you most in the past? Just a refreshing honesty. When you know a woman says and acts in a way that's genuine, you could tell she's not putting on an act. Like, it could be, I was dating a girl and she sort of invited me over for dinner and nothing more. Or she did something where I could tell she's not really getting anything out of this. She just likes me. And we had a great conversation initially, and then the second or third date, she really went out of her way to think about me, do something, or they kind of listen to what you're talking about, and then they buy you a little gift that is directly related to them listening to who you were and what you're into. you really realize the personal nature of them with you. And obviously, you know, with Stephanie, it was like consistency. There's a whole bunch of stuff. But there's, for me, the signs that confirmed what I thought were that I could trust the evidence of the consistency between us, what we talked about, who we were consistently showing up as, and how we were constantly speaking. And then there were little things that were signs that, yeah, all of this is real. What I trust to be true is real. That's the degree to which I read signs. Consistent equating to the evidence that I know to be true so far. Boohoo Andy says, you should say what you mean to me, won't you say yes? No. I think I'm touching on subjects that guys have, especially with relationships, but it's more that how you think and how you speak. I'm not talking about games and how to get women. I'm talking about how you can be better as a person so you find it easier to date, so you find it easier to make decisions and go your own way and do what you want without apology. So it's easier for you to express what you think. So I think while my channel started as mostly like a MGTOW channel, it's kind of become, I was always more interested in the philosophical aspects of how we can think our way through these things, how we can think better as guys. And when you sharpen your thinking and you learn to think in better ways, whether it's on a date or at a job or any decisions you're making with people, your life becomes a lot easier. I don't know about you, but my hobbies and personal things I do in my own head that don't require people around me, where people around me are blocked out, I find them quite easy. I don't need to struggle with, you know, working out how to draw, create videos. It's interesting. I problem solve through it, but it's never stressing me out. I'm always learning and going forward. But with people, you can't control people. And I'm sort of thinking about that. And with Eureka, I don't know if he's being funny or whatever, but I'm not a dating coach, but a lot of people, I notice, they read the titles of my videos, they don't even watch the videos, and then they make a whole assessment and they write a whole comment in the comment section. They haven't really listened to my videos. I played what I played and you heard what you heard. So I don't know. Yeah, look, I don't think we should really be concerned with signs, because a lot of women's signs and rules and puzzles, like when she says left, she means right. When she says yes means no means maybe, and sometimes it means yes. It's like, who cares? I was done with that decades ago. It took me a long time to really like sharpen that, like start to get rid of it and say, I'm tired of playing the games I'm supposed to be playing and recognizing the signs. And when a woman says she's got a headache, it means this. It doesn't really mean she's got a headache. If a woman says no, she might mean no, but she could mean yes, but don't ask because she gets offended. It's like, I don't care anymore. I am going to treat a woman like a human being, like another person. And if she starts playing games, I don't want to waste time being around her, because I don't want to have this eggshell interpretive relationships where I'm always trying to, she's unhappy. She won't tell me, okay, maybe we need to go out for dinner. So she has a smile on her face. And then she's brave enough to tell me. And even if she won't, she'll say, I can't, I'm afraid, it's my child. It's kind of like, I can't have a relationship with a child that needs therapy. I just can't. I need someone who's on my side when I need them. I need them to support me as well. I need a woman by my side, not a child beneath me, sort of thing. So have the relationships you want, but I just got tired of inadequate dragging around a mute child in a relationship just because it was cute, and guys tell you go for these submissive women that are very girlish. It's like, you're going out with a child. Like, good luck to you. I'm glad it makes you feel confident to be that far above a toddler, but I just need them to be a little bit taller than that. Thank you very much, figuratively speaking. So any other questions relating to this, or do you have any thoughts about reading signs when it comes to dating? Because I think it's just a waste of time. When you're young and naive, it can help giving you an entry, like instead of just saying hello, having a few things or a topic, hi, and then a topic or two, or learning to observe her or your environment, like where you are, and having an introduction relating to where you are, who she is, how she's dressed, your environment, you're at a movie, describe something, have an entry into a conversation. That stuff can be helpful when you're young and inexperienced and you really don't know. But I would encourage people to read, write, learn to speak, have better conversations with people. Some of the dialogue I hear on servers and the way people write in comments under videos, it's at a third grade level. And I can understand why they have difficulties, but if you don't have an interest in improving your communication and vocabulary, sorry, can't help you, because it's to your own benefit. This is for you, not so you can impress some bimbo. I don't care about her. It's so you can feel better on a date or going for the job interview. It's so you feel more confident, so you know what you want and you've described yourself clearly to the person. So when you walk home from the date, you don't feel like, I said that again. Oh, I should have said this. Why do I always keep my mouth shut? Again, that opportunity arose where I could have actually been honest and I wasn't. And you're ashamed of yourself. So you stop doing that. That's why I'm encouraging direct and honest communication. Many of us were raised to act proper, not say this, don't say that, dress this way, do this. We don't care how you feel. This is the way you have to robotically go through life around women, around elders, around... Like, I get it. And then when you're in puberty, you're given all these bullshit games to go through and one-liners and pick up lines and things like that. It also asks you to act even more. And then by the time you get to your late 20s and early 30s, when you really discover and you're interested in who you are and what you really want, you discover more of who you are at the core, then it's like you realize that you have to learn everything from scratch. All of the rules and masks that you were asked to put on were there to protect a fragile and brittle child that needed to survive in the world. And your parents and everyone else meant well, but now you have to learn to stand up with kind of the curiosity of who you know you should be. And for people who aren't intellectually curious, they just learn more lines and put on more masks. And I've met guys who are my age who are still wearing the gold chains and the open shirts, going to clubs and high-fiving each other at sports bars, and really would die for their football team, and they just believe all this stuff that they used to believe. And I don't know, I can't relate to that. I mean, have you had experience with being in your typical relationship where you just have to read signs and tea leaves and puzzle out a woman? It's exhausting. I got exhausted because you try, fail. Okay, try again, fail. Try another time in a different way, still fails. But if you keep trying in the reading signs way and it never works, you're not intelligent. You need to adapt and change. Sure, try it the way they said. When you're young and naive, you get a pass. You're trying it the way they say you're doing it because they're obviously more experienced. Older people are telling you. You read books and you try things, it doesn't work. Try it a different way, it doesn't work. You keep trying and trying in different ways until you find a way that works for you or that just objectively works. Lines objectively work, but they're not sustainable. If you want something that works and is sustainable, the only thing I found is being yourself, saying hello, and not trying to impress. All of these kind of ways of speaking and thinking that will allow you to be the relaxed you who can articulate yourself better. That's the only thing I found works. The other stuff that technically works, that the pickup artists and the people who don't really want to reveal who they are and they put a big front of business, get jacked, success, men versus women kind of stuff, and like you get just two cardboard cutouts of successful women, high value woman getting with a high value man. Then now that you got each other and you gamed each other to get the high value man and woman, now you're stuck with each other, and what do you talk about? Nothing. How can you rely on each other? Can you trust each other? No, because I've got a prenup, because she's got this, because the laws, because this is like, there's nothing there holding you together because kind of insecure structure and adopting masks and roles. But you can be yourself with your friends, your best mate, with family members. It's not intelligent. And it's frankly a child trying to barricade themselves with certainty. But it's exhausting having typical sign reading relationships that everyone tells you to read. You go into dates, you listen to some of these pickup guys that they learn to clue into female nature, right? Which is useful to recognize what generally women are more romantic. They're into chocolates, flowers, and all that cliche bullshit. Fair enough, right? But what's going to make me pick woman A over woman B and commit to her, want to have a serious relationship to her, and exclude all the other women out there who are the same? She's actually showing me who she is, and I'm actually acting in accordance and being who I am, so I can realize that we're two real people. And that's how I know I'd rather be with her to the exclusion of all the other lemmings and puppets out there who are the same. And if you just want the safety of sheep dating sheep, be a sheep, date other sheep, fine. But for the love of God, I'm tired of reading comments about, but human, woman's nature and the laws. It's like, I don't care. I really don't care. Have relationships like a sheep. Don't ask questions. Don't reveal the things that are important to you. Don't speak up for what's important to you. Don't insist that she speak up as well. Fine, have those relationships and keep circling those and justifying yourself with science and female nature and the laws and stuff. Fine. I've let go of all that, not because I'm better or anything than you, but it doesn't work. I spent decades trying to do it mathematically. The mathematical solutions don't solve the personal problems. The personal problems require personal solutions, like speaking better, communicating, and all those things that a lot of people who watch my channel laugh at and roll their eyes at because they like watching the 12-step program of getting jacked and getting some 10 out of 10 bimbo, who, by the way, is the one you can't trust. But anyway, do what you want. Yeah, we're just taught from a young age, before we find out who we are in midlife, to impress people. We're taught with women, you've got to be exciting. You got to impress it. No. Be interested in things. Have a life. Be interested in your own things you're interested in. Don't just kind of chase women. Be interested enough that you have things to talk about, like with your friends, sports, hobbies, video games, whatever it is, movies. Whatever you're interested, you become interesting to others because you're interested in things in your life. You have things to wake up for, and you're interested in hobbies and pastimes. Then when you go and talk to people, you have stuff to talk about. You have perspectives. You've gone into the details of your hobbies, and you watch movies, and I watch this movie and I love the subtext, and you love pulling things apart and thinking about things as commonly as movies or music or something. Like, most people are into those things, right? Be interested in stuff in your own personal life when you're single, so that when you meet others, you can share your personal sort of inner world of those things with them through conversation. Then you'll be interesting. But you don't need to impress people with lines and look at my bank account and look at my six-pack, marry me. What's wrong with you? I got a six-pack and I got a Ferrari, marry me. What's wrong with you, you dumb bitch? It's kind of like, what's the point? Have opinions and perspectives to share because they're you, right? Articulate them. It's not complicated. People want to make them complicated because they're avoiding the basics, just like people who want to diet and get fit physically. They avoid the basics. They're looking for the 12 intricate magic pills that are anything other than eating better and moving around and exercising. The basics work. Communication, being honest, works. Be yourself works. But a lot of highly intellectual academic people who make this kind of similar content about relationships, that will get so esoteric that it almost has nothing to do with two people talking to each other. How does a lot of that technical academic red pill information, how is it going to help you in a conversation, right? You don't know how to talk. All you got are memes. You know all of this library of technical, scientific, biological, male-female nature, Brifolt's law, the stats. You know what women can do to you. You're defending yourself against all these dangers and stuff, You're You're like a survivalist who's dressed in camouflage, who stocks up cans of baked beans in his basement, waiting for the apocalypse and things like that. Great. I wonder what your conversation is going to be like on a date. Anyway, I would finally wrap up my thoughts on this in saying that there is such a freedom in having. Let me get back to the main screen. If you got any last comments here, please. If you want to comment during the live stream here, add 3 emojis like this example below. 3 smiley faces before your comment, not after. Before, 3 smiley faces. I would wrap up in this manifesto of mine and saying there is such a freedom in not playing games. It is so liberating. It doesn't haunt you later. You say what you think, you express who you are, and afterwards it's kind of like, well, I let it all out. All my cards are on the table. Like, if she doesn't like me, at least she doesn't like me for who I actually am not. At least it's liberating. Like, she doesn't like me, she doesn't like me. I know there's no ambiguity. I don't have to wonder. It's not like, well, did she? It kind of went well. And it's like the more direct you can be at a job interview as well. Anywhere. There's such a liberating freedom of being direct and polite and telling people who you are and insisting through that kind of direct and polite communication. You will start to see the person, if they're genuine, if they don't play games, if they're a decent person, they will want to do that back, and they will almost be relieved that they can just be a relaxed person back to you. When I started doing this, I remember in my around 40, like late 30s, early 40s, I started to make a practice of, whether it's dates or job interviews, I wanted to go out there and have a good time and just have a conversation with a potential friend. I was starting to get almost every job interview I went to, because I figured, look, they called me in for an interview based on my resume. Just like on a date, if you get a date based on your profile, they like you already. So they've seen your resume. They are going just to see if they like your personality. That's it. Same as a job interview. So I went on a job interview wanting to have fun with a potential friend and just like joking around. Obviously with a job, you've got to be a bit more formal. You can't kind of make, say, the inappropriate jokes you do with your friends in private because you know your friends. But on the day, I'd go on a job interview, and almost 9 out of 10 times when I just go there relaxed and being friendly, the other person would start to smile and we just have a nice conversation and chat. And they would be relieved and have a good time. And most of the time I actually got an offer, because they just want to see whether they get along with you. The interviewer sees that you're a good fit for them. So your resume is already passed. They want to see if they connect with you as a person. And if you go there with a resume mask on top of that, you're not going to get the job, you're not going to get the date. Or if you do get the date, it's going to be 2 people just getting by on their resumes all the time, until one day you just want to be on your tracksuit on the couch. You just want to share your opinions, good or bad. And the other person feels like, well, I didn't sign up for this. And quite rightly, they have every right to leave, because you weren't who you were. You didn't let them see who you are. You didn't communicate who you are, and they probably didn't either. So direct and honest communication frees you from the anxiety of not knowing who they are. And if you try and be this person, it's only going to benefit you, and it'll stop you wasting time with people and wearing masks for the honeymoon period until that eventually falls off. And then both of you blame men and women, where really it was your indirect, non-communicative masks that you should be blaming. Look, I will say, you can watch all my videos. You know, whenever I made them, I had problems with women and dating, trying to figure stuff out. But if I could sum most of them up, if I could be better at this, being direct and communicating honestly and not caring if the person really approves of who I am. Of course you care. You don't want to offend people. You're polite. But I should not be afraid of expressing who I am. I have every right to say my beliefs, believe my ups and downs and my yeses and nos. And if Chicky Poo looks at me with raised eyebrows, or like, well, I didn't like that, I don't like that, it's like, well, I'm here for you to meet the real me, like the real you. And if you don't like it, good. I can go on to the next girl who might like me. You know, I want a long-term relationship, and that means with a real person that likes me and is compatible. So any questions or super chats, if you've got any left, give them now, because we'll wrap it up. I'll read any of your last comments. Let's Yep. So let's see. let me read some of the so-called signs. You guys left comments under my, here we go. Okay. What are the signs she likes you? Again, I wasn't being literal, but some of you guys actually do reflect on signs. So my first is direct communication, and the confirming signs that I look for are consistency with what we said and talked about and who I think you are. So the signs that what you said and I said, what we believe we are, the signs of consistency based on the evidence we have in the past of each other. That's the only signs I can actually see as accurately reading signs. But magically, when you first meet someone, interpreting, well, she does this, she's high quality, or she's like, yeah, maybe, maybe not. Could be an act. You can only find out and clarify through discussion and listening and paying attention, and not just seeing and believing what you want to see. David P. How are you, David? Long-time supporter. Both David and Prince Revolver. David first says, she makes a proactive effort to be pleasing and to resolve problems. Yes. She won't play games. Yes. That's a big one. She doesn't play games. She doesn't say whatever. She's not avoidant. She doesn't give you vague, uncommunicative answers where you have to keep prying. Like, what do you like? I don't know. What do you like? What do you want? I don't know. Whatever you want. It's like that becomes very tiring very quickly. He continues, she won't play games or make you guess her intentions. Yes. Rather than test you and put up roadblocks, she'll guide you down the proverbial path. In short, she'll make your life easier. Yes. I agree with all of that 100%. She makes an effort, and she makes an effort honestly. Can you tell that? A lot of guys can't even tell that. That's not reading signs, by the way. That's listening and seeing consistent behavior. And over time, it might take you a while before you commit to it. I'm not saying commit straight away when you see a few signs. It might take you weeks, months, however long to take the next step, whatever that next step is for you. But seeing that consistency and seeing her wanting to put in effort, resolving problems, making an effort to please you. If you said something that, you know what, I really like this, or I appreciate it if you do this, or I really like it when girls do this. It really does it for me, or this is what really makes me happy. You don't have to do all of this stuff that women think they need to do for guys. Just do this for me. If you can do A and B, that's everything. You don't have to worry about any of the rest. And you could see she makes an effort, not just because she listened to you, but because she sees it's important for you. But it's not an act. But also you do something that she likes. She communicates what she wants as well. So it's all down to communication and clarifying through communication and words, not just what you imagine the person to be because you're vibing. Words clarify what your brain is interpreting. You need to clarify it through conversation. Prince Revolver says, signs, she shows genuine interest in you. She doesn't make everything about her. Yes, that's another one. The whole relationship and dating period isn't all about what she wants. I remember one distinct one where there was no second date. She was nice enough, but I remember I met up with her for a coffee, and I suggested a certain place on a certain street. And when we got there, she didn't even sit down. She says, I don't really like this place. Can we go here? That place is really nice. I said, why don't you like this place? Did you have a bad experience? She goes, nah, I just like the other place better. And so me meeting up at a certain place, she just wanted what she wanted from the start. And I remember there was no second date. And I remember she messaged me and she said, was it because I changed venues right from the start? She says, I knew I shouldn't have done that. Sorry. And it's just these... Right from the get-go, you can sense, and and I knew during the date, I remember she was very much, it was all about her. She dominated the conversation. She wouldn't listen. If I said, I like this, she was like, nah, this is better. I like this coffee. I'm making it up now, but just generally, I would say how I really enjoyed or liked something, or I'd been somewhere that was really good, or this movie was good. She's like, no, this movie's better. It's like, stop telling me my opinion of something isn't good, will you? Stop. So it was kind of like, there's nothing about you that I like. Everything about you is hard work, and being with you would have to be to agree with everything you want and think is good. She shows reciprocation. She's direct. Doesn't make everything about her. She's pleasant to be around. A pleasant person, that is so underrated. I think a lot of people think that if I'm attracted to her, she's pleasant just because I like her and want her. No. Pay attention. Is she actually a nice, pleasant person? It sounds trite, but just pay attention. Are they nice, pleasant people? Not if they're exciting, not if they're sexy, not if you want them. Are they just objectively a nice, pleasant person? Are they calm? Are they fair? Just objectively. Pay attention to those things. Have fun. Have a time, but don't. I think a lot of the red flags that pop up when they're abrupt or they make a decision or react in a way that you don't expect is incompatibilities. But you need to pay attention to these things. Let's see. I asked a question yesterday. If there's no further questions, how long have we been going, by the way? Whoa, wrong screen. How long have we been going? I just want to check. 50 minutes. Okay. All right. All right. If there's no final comments and questions, we can wrap this up and have a stream that's just about an hour, which is really nice. I've always wanted to aim for about 40 minutes to an hour. And today it looks like it'll be so. But then again, I always say I'm going to wrap up and then I keep going, don't I? Elusive Man, he leaves a comment. He says, if a woman truly likes you, you won't have to jump through flaming hoops wearing gasoline-drenched drawers. Yeah, having to prove yourself to women is the biggest waste of time, because no reasonable, mature person, a guy wouldn't say to a woman like, well, you got to jump through hoops to prove yourself to me. Normal, decent people just want to be around polite, fair, reciprocal people. The kind of person you would have a friendly conversation with is the kind of date you want to be on as well. I don't have to impress Chicky Poo and she doesn't have to impress me. You're impressed by the person being fair and decent and kind and non-contradictory and not playing games and not manipulating. That's impressive today. Our grandparents didn't have to go through that. It's sad that it's impressive where just a decent human being impresses you today compared to all the game playing. Okay, let's see. Mood rings. Again, guys, make sure you put your smiley faces and circles before your comments, not after. Elusive Man also said, the issue is not female nature. It was there from the beginning. True. The real issue is male nature and our propensity to put ourselves last in relationships. Yeah, we are happy if we get scraps. We build society. We go to work. We just want the pat on the back. You did a good job. And guys in relationships, they keep doing a good job and give 100%. And they keep thinking, I will get at least a pat on the head. I'll get crumbs. I'll get something. You wait. And then they get used to getting very little, because we feel good doing kind things for people or building things or solving problems. And people appreciate it. But a lot of people, women especially, take it for granted. I relayed this story about a decade ago. I remember I was dating a girl who was a lot of hard work, but I knew it wasn't going to last. It was just something very short. She was fun, and we were both in between relationships we just both came out of. But I remember I started to kind of see underneath her the scared little girl that she doesn't show people. And she was a sweet person underneath the dragon that she put on top. Loud, obnoxious, making inappropriate comments, kind of a strategy of being cruel to protect the person that was hurt in the past for some reason. And I started to kind of see glimpses of that in conversation, and she became a little bit endearing, but she was really obnoxious on the surface anyway. And I remember, like, I would give her compliments just to kind of see if I could soften her, to see the real her underneath. And if I'd see her dressed a certain way, or she was pretty, or she did something kind, I would compliment her. And I would just throw these little compliments when she deserved it, where I could see that she was more relaxed around me and she was letting out the more relaxed, real her. And I would start doing, and I could tell she felt more comfortable around me. And at the end, we broke up for sort of more atomic bomb reasons, where she was just really being an idiot and we were really incompatible, and she was being the typical problems that a lot of guys talk about with women who are entitled and aggressive and rude and things like that. And I remember I kind of pointed out to her that how cruel she was, and she really didn't, she wasn't a kind person. And she sort of said, I wasn't either. And she goes, I don't see, you're like me. And I said, no, I'm not. Have you noticed I compliment you, I say hello, the way I greet you, I kiss you on the cheek. I say nice things to you that make you smile and things like that. And I started to relay all these little things that I'd sprinkle in our relationship in this short time we were together. And she would pause because I said, and what do you do for me? What little things do you sprinkle? How do you treat me well? Name me one thing, aside from the bedroom, right? You don't use that because that's neutral. In day-to-day, name one thing where you treat me well, or you're kind to me, or you compliment me, or you do something or say something to me that's positive, that's just to treat me nicely. One thing, I'll give you one thing, come on. And I've given you all of this, and she couldn't. And at the end she said, well, all the stuff you mentioned, all the little things you do, that's just normal in relationships. And that was kind of a laughing moment. I said, yeah, okay, anyway. And that didn't last after that. But I think a lot of people think the kind niceness just comes built in just because you like the person. But if you objectively take a look, do they just have the baseline of a decent person that you can build trust on if you are compatible with each other? And a lot of people just don't. A lot of people aren't addressing their childhood traumas. They barricade themselves with like an asshole at the front so they don't get hurt. Like, I will be mean before anyone can be mean to me. I don't want to feel that way ever again. A lot of guys I talk to are like that. They've gone through some horrific stories with divorces and kids, and I can't blame them with the hurt and trauma. But it's like, you don't have to be worse than her or like her, so you defend yourself with people like her. Like, not every woman's going to be like your ex. Like, learn and look for what is not your ex. You know, that's the lesson. Look for the opposite to your ex. When she was like that and you really hate it, look for someone who has she's mean and cruel. Look for someone kind. If she's spiteful, if she never says anything nice to you, look for someone who says something nice to you. Not every woman is my ex. But anyway, that comes with a bit of humility and self-reflection and being a bit more objective. Just like, not every man's the same. Men generally are the same animal, but your friends, everyone, you're not exactly the same. You've got your own peculiar little individuality, and that's what you want to match with another individual. You're not the same as every other guy. So you have to kind of realize that in the same way, your compatible match, there's very few matches to you. You got to look for that compatible match. All right. I won't go through some of the other comments. I might leave them for the next stream. I posted an interesting question that would generate a lot of maybe discussion amongst us and questions to answers that I'll leave for the next stream, and I'll pick out the best ones. And it was, what recurring issue do you keep struggling with? And I wanted your comments below. So look in the comments section of my channel, my community tab, and under this avatar, I think I did another one underneath this one as well. Put it under this one, the big one without my head. And I'll pick out the best recurring issues that people struggle with that I feel like, yeah, I've gone through that. A lot of guys have gone through that, and let's have a discussion about it. So welcome your comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe. If you didn't like this stream or the videos, give me a thumbs down. Doesn't matter. But be polite and civil, and don't be a child. I'm not here to have childish debates. I'm here to have a discussion that, you can get better, I can get better, guys can learn something from. If you have a microphone, jump on Gilded after this. Gilded is a server that we can all, in real time with microphones now, we can all jump into a browser, into a room, and have discussions in real time with each other with microphones. So if you have a microphone, learn how to use Gilded, jump on that after this, and we'll have a bit of a conversation. and continue these signs that people tell you to read. So, comments below. I'll see you next week. Have a good weekend. Thanks for showing up. And yeah, remember, I would say if you want to take anything away from this, it's honest communication clarifies everything. Stop looking for signs. The only signs I would say are of any use are the consistency of what has come before you, the conversations, what you trust the person to be, how you see them. The only sign in real time that you should be looking out for is consistency. That's the only sign. Consistency with your past evidence of the person, the conversations you have openly had with them. That's the only sign, consistency. But nothing beats honest communication. Honest communication clarifies everything. It's very unsexy, but it's the only thing that will get you something real. And it's the only thing, by the way, aside from signs and game playing and all this high-value bullshit, it's the only thing that will sustain a relationship long-term, is honest, direct communication, clarifying what you already know, and it clarifies your trust. Let me know your thoughts below. Let me know your thoughts in Gilded afterwards if you're joining us for a chat, and I'll catch you next time. Have a good weekend, everyone. Bye.